Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to the Ask Zena radio show. I know I'm a little late. I know. I'm so sorry, but it's pouring out there. It is pouring out there. So let's get started. Happy Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Right? Oh my gosh. So today's show, we're going to talk about overindulgence. You know how, you see all that good food for Thanksgiving, and it's like, I want a little bit of this, and I want a little bit of that, and I want a little bit of this, and, I've got to save room for that, and you're gorging and you're eating all day. Well, I'm going to talk about this from an emotional standpoint. And you need to stay tuned. You need to stay fixed. You need to stay put so that you can listen in, so that we can digest some of this stuff. Because, I am all about manifestation, creation, and all of those Asians' imagination. And so I really want you to be a whole person. So I'm not just talking about food. I'm really not going to talk about food, although Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. I am going to talk about emotional overindulgence. And I'm going to touch upon some narcissistic people. And I'm going to touch upon us being prepared for the new year and just ridding ourselves of all that toxicity, right? Okay, so we're out of Mercury retrograde as of today. And I just did a Facebook post. Isn't it crazy that Mercury retrograde came in on Halloween? Trick or treat, trick or treat, in a day of darkness, right? And so retrograde came in and the energy shifted and all sorts of wacky things started to happen. But today, ironically, it goes out in this beautiful burst of rain. Yes, I said beautiful. Beautiful burst of rain. And when you think of rain, you think of water, you think it pouring down, you just think of it washing everything clean and just ready for newness. Because whenever rain happens, you're also going to have growth, right? So, hello, happy growth day. Thank you for tuning in to the Ask Zena radio show on the Good News radio station. Hey, if you don't know anything about Good News and you're just listening to me for this first time, I am a career coach, a life coach, a spiritual coach, and I help people live the best life possible by tapping into their own capacity. So we are designed as unique individuals and unique creations of the one source, whatever you call that. I say God, but of the one source. And So, being that unique creation and an emanation of the one source, we have the full capacity to tap in and to shape and shift our life at any moment, any given time. Yes, you do. You have that power. Come on. Come on. Just like putting on your clothes, you put on a new attitude. Lifting up those socks, putting your foot in a shoe, keep it stepping, keep it moving, keep it growing, keep it creating. So, I want to talk to you today about overindulgence. And so, Thanksgiving is coming up, and you know how all of that great food is in front of you, and you've got your comfy clothes on, or maybe you're dressed up and you go to someone's house and then you got to unbuckle some things so you can have that second and third plate. But guess what? We do that emotionally as well. Yeah. We do that emotionally as well. So, have you ever been in a situation where someone is just draining you, but you haven't cut them loose? You haven't stopped making another plate, inviting them in, making another plate, letting them know your intimate secrets, inviting them in, maybe being intimate with them, inviting them in. So you're just piling more and more stuff on your plate. And so I like to think symbolically, and I'm a visual person. So as I think about like my Thanksgiving plate, it's got mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese. Oh, and I make this amazing Creole corn. Yeah, I'll be sharing that at the Friendsgiving. And you know your sprouts and your vegetables and then your yams if you make yams, or your yamalo or yam casserole, whatever it is. So all of these different things are different energies that we put into our body. So like think about piling all that food on your plate and then you're stuffed and you're so full. And then all of a sudden you look back at it and you're like, I think I want some more. Don't have any room for any more, but I think I want some more. Don't have any room for any more. I think I'm going to get some peach cobbler. Don't have any room for any more. That's what we're doing to ourselves when we keep toxic people around. So part of the reason why we keep toxic people around is because they're serving a purpose in our life. And someone would say, like, Zena, toxic people don't serve a purpose in your life. They're toxic. You need to get rid of them. You need to take out the trash. You need to, throw that food out. You need to get rid of that memory. You need to delete them, block them, take them off your social media. But really, why do you keep someone around who's toxic for you, who's draining you, who criticizes you, who challenges you, who does these things? Who makes you feel uncomfortable, who doesn't make you feel at your best? It's because they're serving a purpose. Yeah. Even narcissists serve a purpose. Yeah. So I want to share with you today, if you can identify the purpose, then you can identify the toxicity. And then you can identify when you're overindulging and when you need to set your boundaries, like one plate is enough. Really, because if you keep allowing toxic people to come into your life, that's all you're going to receive. Because what you're putting out there, so it's not what you are putting. Maybe you're not a toxic person, right? But because you're allowing these toxic people, you start to resonate at their level. And so you can't surpass them because you haven't changed your stinking thinking. You are in that cesspool, and you're swimming around with them. Even though you may think you're better, even though you may think you may think differently, even though you may have a vision for your life, if you're swimming in a toxic pool with toxic people, family included, then guess what? You're just as toxic as they are. Have you ever seen that movie, The Fallen? I think it just popped on Netflix just recently, but it's an old one with Denzel Washington, and this is how the transference of energy happens. Sorry, got something in my eye and whacked the mic. This is how the transference of energy happens. So if you ever see this movie Fallen, even go out on YouTube, it's a pivotal point in the movie where Denzel walks through the streets of New York, and there's like an old man and an old lady, and they're sort of snarking at him, and then they brush up into someone else, and that negative, let's call it evil because that's what the movie is about, evil energy transfers to someone else, and then it transferred just by a brush of the shoulder, just by a shake of the hand, just by, being in that person's presence. That transfer of energy goes into that person. That's really literally how it happens. It's just that easy. It's just that simple. So you go to work and you're dealing with all of these negative people, or maybe you're dealing with one negative person, and that person comes into your office, your cube, and starts, talking about other people. Guess what's going to happen? If you don't catch yourself, sometime throughout the day, you're going to start talking about other people, or maybe talking about the person that was there, or maybe complaining. It's that transference of energy. And so I'm going to talk about at the end on how there's a couple of simple to really cleanse your energy very, very quickly, and to shape shift your attitude, right? To shape shift your attitude into a different, higher level, higher vibration. I'm not talking no hokey pokey stuff, because I'm actually, I wanted to do this today because I'm doing a training on Friday at a surgical center. I'm doing a real colors training. And one of the reasons why they asked me to do this training is because the employees are very combative with each other. And the employees, so they're dealing with patients and they're dealing with clients. And sometimes this combativeness comes out in the presence of patients and clients. Would you ever go back to an office that, you saw two women bickering about a pencil? I'm just making that up. But anything? No, I wouldn't, because I would think that if that's the way they interact, then how are they going to interact with me? And when I'm paying my money for something, I want the utmost service. So let's get back to this overindulgence. So we sometimes keep people in our lives that shouldn't be in our lives. So we keep them longer than the time that they're supposed to be in our life. So there's a reason, there's a season, or there's a lifetime, right? And a lot of times people come into our life for a reason to teach us something, a reason to help us to grow, a reason to help us to see something differently, a reason to find an answer, or a reason just to shake us up a little bit, right? And then if people come into our life for a season, then they're there for a specific duration. And it's really, that's a season that you'll start to experience some happiness, some joy, and you'll start to experience different things, but it also could be a challenging season. And those people that stay in our life for a lifetime are the most special people, right? Those are it. Now, you might think of, well, a lifetime, that has to be my mother, that has to be my father, that has to be my children, and it doesn't have to be anyone, but it could be everyone. And so those people that come into our lives for a longer duration, we really want to be cognizant of the energy that we exchange and that they give to us. So people that come into our lives for a lifetime, we really should have just joy with those individuals. Doesn't mean they're going to be that they're not going to be challenging. Doesn't mean that you're not going to have hiccups or arguments or whatever disagreements down the road. Those sorts of things with lifetime people are merely to help us grow. And sometimes we don't get that and we don't pass that test. But let's go back to the toxic people. So I used to be a big fan of like the housewife shows and Atlanta Housewives and all these. And I just realized that they're just so darn toxic. Like, why would I even be watching women who are 40, 50, 60 years old calling each other all of these names and be mad because one person talked to another person? So I was doing some channel surfing on my computer yesterday while I was at work, and I pulled up YouTube, and Wendy Williams was talking about Nene Leakes called her after she had interviewed, what's that girl's name? Kenya Moore, and was like, "You're my friend and you should." Who does that? Like, that is some second grade stuff. That's something that your daughter or your son would come to you and say, "Sally Jane doesn't want to be my friend, and she's telling Tiffany not to be my friend." Who does that? I want you guys to see this because so many people are caught up in like media drama, and like we're living that life. Even the toxicity of sitting there watching the Atlanta Housewives, watching another woman berate another woman or talk about, just going back and forth. I don't have friends like that in my life, but that is also keeping you in that toxicity. So just another scoop of something that you put on your plate, right? Just another scoop, because if you sit there and watch that, then you're validating that, and then you're resonating with that. So I want to talk about like how to start living a very clean, happy, healthy life, and whatever that means for you. And I'm not saying you don't have to watch television, and I'm not saying you don't have to be with your family, but I'm just saying just start to recognize from this day, start to recognize people and things that drain you, or people and things that make you react. And maybe it's a reaction like a snarky reaction. Maybe it's, someone posting something and then you've got to chime in about how wrong they are. Think about that, because every time you do that, I'm telling you, internally, you are just shaking up that toxicity within yourself. So in order to live a clean life, you have to have clean thoughts and you have to do clean things. And I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm just trying to help you to live a better life. And so some of the things that I've had to do is I literally, in my spiritual growth and development, I literally had to separate myself from family, and I had to separate myself from friends. I've had friends that I've had for years and years and years, and we don't even really communicate. Doesn't mean I have anything negative to say about them or think negatively. It just means that for my spirit, it wasn't feeling right anymore. And so even yesterday when I was in my office and people were talking and a lot of different things, sometimes I'll just close the door. I'll just close the door because I just can't get involved in that. I can't be a part of that. I don't want to know. And, when we had the fires and we had the shootings, I work in a news environment. And so all of that negativity was coming in because we were covering that. And I literally had to go home to take a shower. So that's one of the things that I do in terms of cleansing my energy. But, there's so many people in our lives that really shouldn't be in our lives, but we're holding on because we've known them for so long, or we're in a relationship, or or maybe you're manipulating them, or maybe they're manipulating you, and you feel guilty about something. I know a lot of women who are in relationships with men, good guys, maybe not just for them, but they're still in the relationship because maybe they're drawn to the intimacy, the sex, or what that person is feeding them, or how they make them feel. But when you pull back the layers, it's probably like 5 to 10% that the person makes them feel good. And then it's all the other times that the person is questioning them or interrogating them, or, demanding things of them or requiring things of them. And so I want you to up your dose of goodness that you deposit within yourself, versus allowing someone to have entrance into the gate of your joy and your happiness. So one of the things to do is just from today, just watch yourself. If you think, "Oh, Zena, you're talking all this hocus pocus rambling again," because I do ramble. um, I want you just today to look at the energy as you start to talk to people, as you start to go places. Like, I'm a person that has road rage. Transparent. I have road rage. But I have learned to just let it be. It's just going to be what it's going to be. When the rain started coming down today, I was like, it's just going to be what it's going to be. If I'm late, I'm late. So be it. So, but before I would internalize that. And what happens is when you internalize that, your organs start to react. Your body chemistry starts to change. And everything that I'm talking about today is just really to help you to live a happier, healthy life. If you don't exercise, if you don't change your food habits, change your energy habits. And if you change your energy habits, you'll start to see things quite differently. And this was a big lesson for me during Mercury retrograde, because I shared with you a couple of things about my apartment and my car. And some other things came at me, and it was just like I just had to shift that energy from woe is me, what the heck is going on, to just moving beyond that and just seeing beyond that. So how do you do that? How do you do that? How do you do that when you're in a toxic environment? So a lot of, how do you do that when you're feeling negative? Here's a couple of tips that I think that you can do really, really quickly. I love drinking cold water with lemon. But if you drink warm water with lemon, it has a lot of healing properties. And trust me, you can go out there and Google this stuff. If you drink warm water with lemon, let's say someone is coming at you. Let's say you're in an argument with your partner or whatever. It's going to be kind of odd to say, oh, let me go get some warm water with lemon. But if you walk to the kitchen and you can get some warm water with lemon, you'll see that the chemistry of you allowing this toxicity to come, because what's going to happen is the body is trying to purify itself with that warm water and lemon. So it's going to be resistant to this energy that's coming at you. So that's one way. Seriously, that's one way. The other way to do that is, let's say you're in an environment, let's say it's Thanksgiving and you've got family over, and as family does, sometimes people get in arguments or whatever. Here's what you need to do. Just really, really quickly, go inside your own mind and find a happy memory. I don't care what the happy memory is. It could be a happy memory with your children or with your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your partner or work or something, and find that happy memory and just hold that for 3 seconds. I am giving you tips just to change and shift your life in 3 seconds. There's no reason for people to spiral out of control with anger, spiral out of control because other people are affecting them, spiral out of control because they didn't set their boundaries and they feel attacked. You can do these things really, really quickly. So find a good memory. And actually, I have a couple of things. I have my granddaughter's voice on my telephone, and she's saying some really sweet things to me. And then I have 2 voicemails that both different sons, my older son and my younger son, sent to me at one point, and I have them saved on my phone. So if I'm really, really feeling down and out, or I'm feeling, angry or whatever, I will just listen to one of those voicemails. And all it takes is for me to be in a different dimension of reality is that. And so you can do this. And if you learn to do this and you learn to master this, nothing will get in your way, because you're always going to be vibrating at a very high energy, and you won't be overindulging in toxicity. You won't be filling up. So a lot of times when we overindulge, when we overeat, we're trying to fill up something. But sometimes we're already full because there's other things that are trying to emerge through us. And I know sometimes people are like, hey, you just go way off with this. But I really want to help people understand how they could shift their energy so quickly. Saturday, was it Saturday or Sunday? I was just feeling a little bit emotional about my children, about me not being with my children on Thanksgiving and probably Christmas. And I just got emotional. I was driving someplace, and And I actually cried all the way there. But it was, at first it started to be really sad, but then I shifted that because then I started to think about previous Thanksgivings and Christmas and us in the snow and, and that sort of thing. So that shifted that. And even though I was still tearful, that was a time of release, that I was releasing that negativity or whatever, that sadness that I was feeling. So I know that I kind of rambled on today, as I always do. So thank you for tuning in to the Ask Zena radio show. But really, as we go into this holiday season, as we come out of retrograde, this is a perfect time for you to learn a couple of quick techniques to shift your energy really, really quickly. Because, people try us. They try us during the holidays, right? The kids try us. Things don't work. Things, fall apart. Money is tight. This and that, relationships end. Do you know that a lot of relationships end from November to January? Okay. I have to put this off on the men because y'all don't want to buy Christmas presents. You guys want to go off and do your own thing for New Year's Eve? There is a statistic, and I'm going to find it, where it says that men oftentimes break up with their partner during Thanksgiving because of football and all of that stuff and sports, and Christmas because they don't want to buy a Christmas present, and New Year's because they want to go hang out with their fellas for New Year's Eve. You're wrong. You're so wrong. You're so wrong. Anyway, again, I'm not judging. I'm just making fun of and just having a good time. So anyway, so one of the other ways that you can, outside of a warm lemon water and a good memory, the other way that you can shift your energy is music. Music is medicine. I don't care what kind of music you listen to. It is medicine. Find a song that you could put on your playlist that really does it for you. If it makes you cry because you're releasing, that's great. If it makes you happy, if it makes you want to dance, I put Rocky on, right? Through my intro and as I exit off and I close out the show, because it's just a moving, motivating song. Now, I'm not running up no stairs, but it's an energizing song. And so it's hump day and I want to get energized and I want to get moving. And sometimes my drive here is unbelievable. So I just have to put something positive in my spirit. And so today, I want you just to think about your energy. And I want you to think about who's impacting your energy and how it's being impacted. And is there anything you can do? A lot of times, here's the thing. A lot of times we think we have to do something to the other person that's impacting our energy. We think we have to get them right. We think we have to tell them something. We think that we have to course correct them. But I'm asking you to do some self-reflection. I'm asking you to do something so powerful that your energy, once you shift that, will start to transcend in the environment, in the circle, in the sphere, in the tribe that you reside in, that you occupy, that you spend a lot of time. And people will shift because of your shift. And if they don't shift, they'll shift out. So that's what you need to know. You don't need to take crap. You don't need to take someone else's belief or demand or requirement or manipulation or abuse, right? You have the ability to control all of that. You're the one, right? So I know I was going to talk about narcissists, and I just want to touch upon that because I want to do a whole series on them. And it's not that I'm talking about them. Really, a narcissist is a person that had an early childhood trauma. And so the compassion and the empathy within their soul, that part of them within their brain, stopped. It became disconnected. So many people are in relationships with narcissists, and you're wondering, well, why is he thinking that way? Well, why is he always blaming me? Why is he always turning that around? First of all, two things you need to know. You're never going to change a narcissist to have them believe your point of view. Never. Ever. Okay? And it's an emotional disorder. They had a severance of compassion and empathy due to a trauma. Now, trauma doesn't have to be like, oh, they were tortured. Trauma could be a trauma in the wound. It could be a situation where the mother went through something traumatic. It could be as simple as an argument. Trauma for people are all different levels and all different variations. So don't think of it as like, oh my gosh. It's their situation and you will never change them. Narcissists always operate from their agenda. Their agenda. They are oftentimes very, very charming, very, very loving, very, very charismatic, but it's at their agenda. Now, here's the thing about their agenda. Don't assume that their agenda means they're trying to take advantage of you. Understand that it's a broken and there's a severed part of them that doesn't see beyond this certain level. So it's almost like they never grew up past whatever trauma. And maybe it was a generational situation. Maybe it's something that happened in the wound, and maybe it's something that happened in their mom's stomach, or it happened as a childhood. So they just are not able to see beyond that. Can you be in a relationship with a narcissist? Absolutely. Can you be a strong person? Can you try to control a narcissist? Never. So you are trying to do something that will never happen because they just can't acknowledge it. And remember last week I said this that you can only recognize something in someone else that resides in you. So let's do that in reverse. A narcissist can't recognize compassion, empathy, because it doesn't reside in them, right? It doesn't reside. So for those women who are in these relationships and they're trying to change their man, it's not going to happen. You can love them, but you're going to have to love them on their terms. And some people that works for. I would rather love someone on their terms than fight with them on my terms. Think about that, right? So again, I'm empowering you today to not overindulge, but to just understand and not try to change anyone and not try to have anyone see what's right and what's wrong, because you are the common denominator. You are the person that's overindulging by putting all of that stuff on your plate at Thanksgiving time. So take a little small bites, take a little inventory, get to know yourself a little bit more and understand what your triggers are. And then just use a couple of different techniques. Don't try to change anyone. Don't try to correct anyone. Don't try to make anyone see your opinion. None of that is necessary because all of that is a contrast. What you really want to do is work on you. And when you work on you, the universe will start supporting you. The universe will start bringing things and opportunities and new people to you. You'll be so surprised. And so I really am grateful that I had an opportunity to share that with you, because a lot of times I'm speaking to myself. So whatever I tell you, trust me, I've gone through. Whatever I share with you, trust me, it resides in me somewhere. So I wanted to say thank you so very much for tuning into the AskZena radio show. I just wanted to give you a couple of nuggets today. I know I was late, but I wanted to share with you and let you know that you are totally in control. And we have like one more month to live the best 2020 ever possible. Start creating unique experiences. Start understanding yourself more so that you can grow and so that you can have the best life possible. Thank you for tuning in to the AskZena radio show on the Good News radio station. Peace and blessings.